Dayton City Commission meeting will now come to order. Please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the pledge of allegiance. And this morning, the invocation will be given by Commissioner Shaw.
Dear God, we pray for our growing and prosperous community. We pray for our citizens, our partners, and our stakeholders. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome back, Ms. Blackshear.
Thank you.
A little change in your attire there. May I have the roll call, please?
Mayor Mims.
Aye.
Commissioner Joseph.
Aye.
Shaw.
Aye.
Fairchild.
Aye.
Turner-Sloss.
Aye.
Okay, may I have the approval for the minutes of the February 19th meeting?
So moved, Your Honor.
And I'll second.
Okay, then probably moved in second to approve the minutes from the February 19th meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay, thank you. So communications and petitions, Ms. Blackshear.
There are none.
Okay, we have some presentations this morning. I know this is always a favorite one. So Mr. Steve Gondo, who's the Director of Planning, Neighborhoods, and Development, to the podium to present our monthly demolition update.
Okay. Good morning, Mayor, Commissioner,
Morning.
City Manager, Clerk. Thrilled to be here to share our January 2025 demolition stats with you all. So we got off to a pretty mild start, about 7 demolitions, all ARPA related. I want to say it was the cold weather, but I could tell you that hot weather, cold weather doesn't affect us. But again, kind of getting that ramping up. What I'm going to do also this year is you'll see we're going to start piling on. So I'm keeping the 23 demolitions on there, the 24 demolitions on there so that we can see how this year's numbers kind of stack up with those. We, as of December, we had 87 piles. We were able to remove one of them last month. We did add 3. Those 3 were probably ones we know. 203 Grove, our friends from Old North Dayton were here. 817 Catalpa and 1216 Noble were added in 25. So we're now, at the end of January, 89 piles, as is our current status. Of the, and again, those locations as to where they occurred. Of those 7 demolitions, though, Edgemont, Southern Dayton View, the Main Street Corridor, and Fairview, just to name a few. But again, we will have much more coming down the pipeline here in the next few months. We did have 8 structures added to our structural nuisance list in the month. And so, again, that is just that ongoing work that we're doing to kind of manage that. And again, I'll remind you that these are sometimes what happens is when a structure is damaged by a fire, but maybe does not need to be emergency demoed, it will then be put in a structural nuisance. So these are not always just a structural fail. These could be fire damage, which are now leading them to be in our structural nuisance. So that pipeline. So we're getting off to a good start. We had 23 properties starting the title report. We do have 16 that completed the asbestos remediation, which means that now they're ready to go. So again, trying to build up that pipeline. Looking at the numbers, not to jump ahead, but we have a very robust February processing of titles, which starts feeding those properties into the demolition pipeline. But like I said, at the end of January, 16 properties are ready for demolition. Just some of the work underway, 732 Denison, 1315 Miami Chapel, 2649 North Main, and 2617 North Main were just some of the examples of work that occurred out in the community. So seeing that we had a lighter month, I'm going to use more of my time today to share a little bit about the work we had completed in 24 and how people felt about it.
Can you describe the condition of the property that was demolished?
Right before demolition, the property had burned at least once, but I know from just walking by that it was all overgrown. There were problems with the roof, the chimneys, really problems everywhere. Foundation. It was an obviously not habitable house. In fact, the owner of the house, who remained homeless in the area, actually chose to squat in other houses, beyond this one, even though he owned this one. So it was in that bad a shape.
When we first came over, it was people were squatting in it, and for 2 years they were squatting and doing all kind of drugs. They had a couple of ODs over there, several ODs over there. So eventually, they set it afire. So it burned down. And after it burned down, it sit there for almost 2 years. It burned down. So the city finally got over in demolition, and we are grateful.
Prior to the demolition, it was blighted, boarded up, overgrown. The roof was caved in. It was a frequent source of vandalism and attraction to vagrants and other problems in the neighborhood.
A definite eyesore. Persons had not only, property itself was deteriorating terribly, and then persons started to use it as a dumping ground. The porch was just filled with beer bottles and mattresses and all sorts of things that just even made it worse.
How did the blighted property affect you, the neighborhood?
Individually, not so much, but for the immediate neighbors, which is a combination of folks, because the edge of the Huffman Historic District is at this fence, and then on the other side is technically another neighborhood. So I'm in Huffman, and for me, because this is so far out on the edge on a very isolated street, it didn't impact me or many of the neighbors, except for on Bell Street here, all that much. However, Burkhart, which is beyond this fence, was affected by it a lot. There's a lot of decayed property around here. There's a drug problem that persists, and this was because it is isolated, a central spot where that drug activity would occur. So yeah, it was bad. It's not as bad now, but yeah, it was a real problem.
With the drug addicts and stuff hanging around the church, coming up around the church, using drugs, doing all around the stuff. But after that, after the house left, the traffic left.
It affected myself personally. I lived on this street for 23 years, and it has been vacant for at least 20 years, and it made this particular street difficult. Property values to sell homes in the area. It increased the level of criminal activity along this stretch, and this street is our signature street. It really was kind of a blight on our beautiful Park Drive Boulevard.
Oh, of course, it was a definite eyesore, to be quite frank with you. I really became quite embarrassed that when my company or family showed up, they saw that property before they even got to mine. So yeah, it was quite embarrassing.
Did living near the blighted property cause issues such as inability to have homeowners insurance, frequent break-ins, property damage, lower property values?
As far as other issues, yeah, neighbors would often have things stolen from them. We recovered a couple of bikes in the neighborhood from the guy who owned this house. That was pretty common. There's a bag of trash there that was pretty common too. You'd have folks who were in pretty desperate situations who'd go through trash bins on trash day and just pull out a bag, and this is a good isolated spot to root through it to see if there's anything valuable. Of course, the bag gets left here.
And what we've seen, there's a demand to live on this particular street within the neighborhood, and there's also a demand for new construction, which is possible in a historic district. The remaining lots here are of interest to many people in the neighborhood who would like to purchase them and build homes on them to kind of replicate the architecture here. So we're very excited at the possibility of seeing homes on these lots again, which were originally single-family homes in the 1800s, and an opportunity for there to be new construction in a historic district, which hasn't happened here for decades.
My homeowner's insurance threatened to drop my homeowner's insurance due to the fact that the home was so close in proximity to mine that they were fearful if someone broke in, started a fire, or trying to keep warm or something like that and starting a fire, that potentially my home could be affected as well.
Has the demolition of the blighted property helped you, the neighborhood?
It's the first step toward recovery. I mean, in a historic district, it's difficult to get anything torn down, and we are trying to preserve an historic district, so we really don't want things demolished if we can avoid it. But this needed to be, not necessarily for any kind of preservation historical reason at all, obviously, but really the neighborhood was not viable. This block was not viable until it came down, and it's still at a point where there's a lot more work that needs to be done, but if this didn't happen, it was never going to start. This looks like the start of it. So there's plans for this area. Both owners next to me are working on their properties now. So it took this one to come down for there to be any signal that really anybody cares at all.
Well, it's cleaning up the traffic. That's one thing it does. So when I used to pull up in the driveway, I have people sitting all out, high, some being OD'd and call the ambulance several times. So that is gone now. So that's one thing that it did. It really cleaned up this area.
As a preservationist, I don't like to see anything over 60 years torn down, but the truth is these properties are a magnet for arson, a magnet for crime, and have really made the Dayton neighborhoods places that have struggled to come back. We're fortunate here in South Park that our neighborhood has managed to come back over the last 30 years. This is a key linchpin property that will only help us continue to move forward. But overall, the demolition and the demolition money that's been received by the city has really helped a lot of struggling neighborhoods.
Okay, so yeah, we can do a lot of work, but I thought it was after a year of presenting to you all that, hearing from probably those that are most impacted by our work, just kind of their perspective. So I do want to thank those residents who lent their time, shared their stories with us and you all, just how that one demolition makes such a huge difference. I also want to thank Andrew Estevez of Public Affairs for loaning his time to help us put together that piece. And lastly, I have always taken back the thanks and kudos to my team that you've shared over the past year. And today I thought I'd bring them here so they could hear it for themselves. So I'd like to just acknowledge Division Manager James McDaniel, Nuisance Abatement Supervisor Ken Jackson, Nuisance Specialist Tanya Morrow, Rick Lovelace, Dave Wetzel, Josh Loudermilk, as well as Stephanie Halfacre and Yelania McGriff, who helped this team on the back end with the administrative support. So this is the group here that is actually helping with all of these monthly numbers and this great improvement in the neighborhood. So I wanted to just...
Let's give them a hand.
And on that, I have nothing further. I will answer any questions you might have.
Okay, I'm sure. Just tremendously appreciative of the work that you guys are doing. And ladies, thank you so much for that. Comments? Commissioners? Commissioner Turner-Sloss?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Mr. Gondo, for being here this morning. Again, as mentioned, this is one of my favorite presentations that I look forward to every month. Couple questions. Could you just remind us again why we only had one fire pile removal for the month of January?
That more of the contract ramping up. So we were kind of winding down one and then getting all the others ramped up. I think right now we're working on like 4 or 5 this week. So more of just kind of the timing of January, but we have several of the piles being removed even just this week alone. So it was kind of it was a mild month for work, but we're seeing work pick up really aggressively this month.
Because from my understanding, we did approve a agreement, I believe it was back in November or December, for about 55 firepower removals. So is that the contract that you're speaking of? That
So there's two, and I could probably bring a little more clarity to you afterwards to the city manager about of those contracts where they each stand, because we've approved some and then we have some newer ones that I've gone through recently. So I can provide an update through the city manager for you on that.
Okay, that'll be great. And then in doing so, if you wouldn't mind providing an electronic copy of the update as well.
Always.
And then thank you for bringing your staff, but I also would like, if you wouldn't mind, to recognize those who are out on the field every day, our housing inspectors who are doing the work. So again, I know they're out right now.
They are, yeah.
But again, I just wanted to uplift the work that they're doing, in addition to a number of members of your staff that you have this morning. So please make sure that you extend our gratitude and appreciation to them as well as they fight through the various elements that they deal with. But today should be nice.
I mean, it's hard, looking at all those layers and that snow, and now we're like in 55-degree weather. So
I do have 2 more questions. Well, actually, just one in regards to the site of Cornell. I believe it was the Cornell grocery store. What is the status of that site? And then in Huffman, on McLean and Drummer, there is a property that is partially demolished. And so if you could provide us an update on those 2 areas, greatly appreciate it. Thank you. That's all I have.
Will do.
Your Honor.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Commissioner Fairchild.
Yeah, no. Well, I'll start with the team. Thank you for all the hard work you do. Hearing these citizens talk about the impact of having a blighted property beside where they live, reminds us all of how important the work you do is. And, it's in some instance, it's life and death, right? In terms of making sure these abandoned properties get addressed. And so thank you for all the work that you're doing. Thank you for the presentation, Mr. Gondel, and appreciate all the work. In the past, we've had kind of a comprehensive pieces to the report. Will those be back next month, or have we changed how you're going to do the report? Like the total number of fire piles that are still outstanding. I don't know that I saw that. If it was there, I missed it. And then, the number of structures on the nuisance list.
Yeah. Oh, so on that, no, what I'm doing is I'm rolling them up. So I'm sorry. So you'll see structures added nuisance list in 2024, 450.
Okay.
So like the previous one, I'm going to keep those previous year numbers. And then we're going to add in the 25 numbers. The only thing we changed on the maps, I'm starting new in 25, and we're going to work on kind of varying, because it did get busy.
Sure.
And so what we made a decision was let's start a clean 25 map, and then we're going to create one where demos in 25, 24, 23, so that way we can distinguish it. So that's the other one. But otherwise, no, the format will stay the same, so we can kind of keep tracking month to month. But I am rolling up some of those 24 totals at the top of those slides.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Commissioner Shaw.
Yeah, no, likewise. Thank you to the staff, and really, I love this the video. I always say pictures 1,000 words, but a video is probably 10,000 words. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Mr. Joseph.
Thank you, Mayor. Yep. Thank you, Steve. This is awesome work. Thank you to the staff for your work here. This is vital. This is something that we hear about at every neighborhood meeting we go to. Every neighborhood has that property that they'd love to see gone. And an increasing number of them are talking about properties that have been demolished. And, we're 1,100 in here after the last couple of years, 1,100 properties. So thank you very much for your work. We got a few to go here. This is great. Great for the city, great for neighborhoods.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, just to echo my colleagues' comments, and every place I go, people are talking about the work that you're doing, just like you had that video there, getting it firsthand from individuals face to face. They have a bigger smile on their face when they're talking about these things. So again, congratulate you and your staff for the work that you're doing. Appreciate you.
All right.
Again,
Thank you very much.
Applause. Thank you so much. Okay, now I'd like to call Mr. John Miner, Education Outreach Manager for Montgomery County Environmental Services, to present an overview, if you will, for the Solid Waste Management Plan. Hey, take your time.
I have to.
Yes.
This was a lot easier when I was 20. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Commissioners, Madam City Manager, and clerk and staff. Thank you for having me. My name is John Manier. I was recently promoted to Assistant Director for the Montgomery County Environmental Services. I deal specifically with the solid waste and recycling group. We have members on our Solid Waste Policy Committee sitting on the DS, so it's good to see you. I just want to give a really, really brief history of the Solid Waste Management District, its purpose, and why I'm here today. Back in 1956, the Board of County Commissioners established a garbage district. Garbage districts were set up to basically help counties, municipal governments, et cetera, to be able to manage the garbage that was being generated. As you remember, Montgomery County had 2 waste-to-energy plants that were operated. In the early 90s, US EPA, because of the Clean Air Act, extended some pretty significant restrictions on air emissions, and the cost of improving those emissions coming out of the stacks was very, very expensive. So every municipal waste-to-energy plant, Columbus, Akron, Dayton, we closed down. So that then precipitated into 1988. The Ohio legislature passed House Bill 592, which required Board of County Commissioners to establish a solid waste district. Montgomery County is a single county district. So that was established. Then in 1989, the Policy Committee was formed. Montgomery County's is a little bit different than other solid waste districts. We have extra members on there because of the solid waste garbage district that was established. EPA gave Montgomery County an exemption to be able to include that structure along with the legislative structure. In 1993, the very first solid waste management plan was developed. Solid waste management plans really, and I'm not going to go into all of the details, it's a 400-page document with a lot of analytics on how much garbage is generated, how much will be generated. Our plan is a 15-year plan with 20 years of projected data. So every 5 years we have to update that plan, and that's where we're at right now. The last one was done in 2019, so we're at that 5-year point now. There are 2 critical goals that the state solid waste management plan set forth for districts to achieve. One is guaranteeing for 20 years that we have disposal capacity. So we have to go out, enter into agreements, contracts, designation agreements to ensure that we have the capabilities for 20 years to maintain and have a place to dispose of our trash. The other critical part is that we have to meet waste reduction goals. And those waste reduction goals, it used to be that we had to meet 60% of industrial waste reduction and 25% residential commercial combined. They did away with the industrial because almost all around the state, industrial groups are over 90%. Here in Montgomery County, we're at 92% of industrial waste reduction. So they basically shifted some of that kind of goal more on education outreach and consulting type of work for the industrial structure. The other important goal, and this is the one where you all are involved in, is that the commercial residential goal has to be at 25%, or we have to be at 85% participation and accessibility. We meet the accessibility goal, but for a number of years we were stuck at 23%. We did find some errors in old data that was restricting those numbers. During this plan update, we reviewed all of those surveys, went back, and we found some analytic errors that were done just through reporting. We corrected those, and now we're at 25.3%, with a projection in the next 5 years to be around 26%. I have a personal goal to get us to 30% by 2030. I think we can get there. So that's kind of the overview of the solid waste district. The other key point is that we have to show how we're going to fund that program. All the programs that we operate, the household hazardous waste, recycling, cardboard recycling, tire collection, all of those programs, we have to show a 20-year budget that shows how it's going to be funded. In 2010, the Solid Waste District raised their generation fee from $2 to $3. That was the last fee increase that the district experienced. One of the critical factors in this solid waste management plan, we had several meetings with our financial advisory committee, because over the last 20 years, the district had been using a drawdown, extra money that rolled over year to year to help balance the budget each year. So we were able to continue to fund. That was going to show a loss of revenue, or a loss of paying the budget through that balance in 2026. So this plan recommends a 65-cent increase over the $3, so from $3 to $3.65, starting in 2026. So, and then each year thereafter, the Financial Advisory Committee recommended to our Solid Waste Policy Committee a 6% increase each year. The important thing about that is every 3.5 years, we begin this process all over again. So we will be looking at the budget, we'll be looking at those fees again, and probably making adjustments at those. But that's kind of the quick overview of the plan, and of course the most critical part is those fee increases of 65 cents, which translates into, for the residents, each home generates about 1 ton of garbage a year, so it's a 65-cent per year per household increase each year. Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Thank you for your presentation. Commissioners, Commissioner Turner-Sloss, any questions?
No, I don't. Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Minor, for being here. Appreciate the work, and the entire committee.
Thank you, and thank you for the recommendations that you gave us on the public hearing.
Yes.
Those were very helpful. We actually had a couple people call and say, well, it was really great that you guys added a weather day in case it happened. Fortunately, we didn't have to use it, but that was a great recommendation, so thank you.
Yes, sir, and thank you. And I just want to acknowledge Mr. Snowball, as well as Ms. Maloney, that sit on the committee as well, for the work that they're doing.
Yeah, Mr. Stovall has been great to work with. I've known him when I was in the private sector with waste management, and Mr. Ritchie. Both are consummate professionals. I'm going to miss Fred. He is just such a great person to work with, amazing knowledge, and but you're fortunate enough to have somebody like Mr. Ritchie coming along, and the rest of your solid waste staff. So they are great to work with, and of course working with Ms. Maloney as well. So you have a wonderful staff, and we appreciate their support.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Fairchild.
Yeah, just a question. So that cost, is that, I'm thinking of our residents, we pay the city for waste collection. Does your cost get embedded into the cost that our citizens pay?
Yeah, how that will work is that every time the truck goes across our scale, right now it's a $3 fee that gets added on to that cost per ton. There'll be a 65-cent increase, so that will hit the city's budget. And I don't know if that's going to be passed along or how that works. Each municipality is a little bit different based on what their financing needs and structure are. So that, of course, is your decision on how that goes. But that's how it works.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
helpful. And thanks for the presentation.
Thank you.
Commissioner Shaw.
I'm good. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, I appreciate you giving us a heads up. Look forward to hearing from City Manager how we're going to deal with that particular increase. And I want to say also, besides the regular trash pickup, I know that a lot of residents use your services for bringing brush in, or household, you mentioned household hazardous waste. I really appreciate those services. They're very valuable and prevent contamination and pouring stuff or dumping stuff that shouldn't be dumped. So I just want to thank you and your staff for providing those.
Thank you. And one last thing, I know you got a big agenda, so I don't want to say, but one of the things that Mr. Stovall, and in my new position, I fortunately have a little bit of luxuries, but one of the things that Mr. Stovall over the past couple of years have recommended to the Solid Waste District, and so we're going to start including this because I think it's an important feature of what we do, and that is when the recycling rates go up and down, what you guys get charged at the processing facility, those can ebb and flow. It's a really fluid commodity market. And what we're looking at is how our grant program can assist, especially communities like the city of Dayton, to be able to apply for a grant to help ease that fluctuation so that you don't get penalized for doing what environmentally is important to us. So that is something that Mr. Stovall had recommended a few years ago. Now that I'm in this position, we are going to move forward with including that opportunity in the grant. We're just not sure how it's going to look yet, but we will have that probably in our 2026 grant process.
Great.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Minor.
Sorry for the slow exit.
Take your time. Yeah, we'll be here for a while. Okay, calendar items. Ms. Blackshear, any additions, deletions, or comments to the calendar?
I have none, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Dixon, deletions or comments to the calendar?
Your Honor, I have no additions or deletions this morning to the calendar. I would like to acknowledge that aside from a lone police item, this is the water show this morning. We have a number of calendar items that are continued demonstrations of our great stewardship of our water enterprise. We have almost $3 million of investments, capital investments in our sewer and water systems, and we have another 600,000 plus in maintenance of some of those really key facilities. And so I'm not going to take the time to highlight each and every one, but they are critical investments to the operations and to the system improvements, and so excited to bring forward those investments.
Okay. Thank you. The city manager's recommendations, do we have any citizens, Ms. Blackshear, who have registered to speak?
None on calendar items.
Okay. Commissioners, comments on calendar items. Commissioner Turner-Sloss?
I don't. I just very briefly, I just would like to uplift the comments of Ms. Dixon and just, again, to applaud the work of our water department and the foresight that they have in making the necessary investments in the infrastructure to protect our water. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Fairchild?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Commissioner Shaw?
I'm good.
Everybody good? I'm good. Okay, may I have a motion then to approve the city manager's recommendations?
I'll move to approve the city manager's recommendations.
Second the motion, Your Honor.
Okay, it's been probably moved and seconded to approve the city manager's recommendations. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed say no. Okay, good. Legislation, Ms. Blackshear.
First reading, emergency resolution number 6850-25, approving the solid waste management plan of the Montgomery County Solid Waste Management District and declaring an emergency.
Your Honor, being declared an emergency, I move for the immediate passage of emergency resolution 6850-25.
Second motion, Your Honor.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to have resolution number 6850-25 as an emergency. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
Second reading, emergency resolution number 6850-25, approving the solid waste management plan of the Montgomery County Solid Waste Management District. Mayor Mims.
Aye.
Commissioner Joseph.
Aye.
Shaw.
Aye.
Fairchild.
Aye.
Turner-Sloss.
Aye.
Second reading, ordinance number 32139-25, appropriating funds for the year 2025 to provide for the operating and capital expenses of various offices, departments, and divisions of the government of the city of Dayton, Mayor Mims.
Aye.
Commissioner Joseph.
Aye.
Shaw.
Aye.
Fairchild.
Aye.
Turner-Sloss.
Aye.
Second reading ordinance number 32140-25, consenting to perform concrete pavement repairs on US Route 35 from Straight Line Mile, SLM 11.75 to 14.34, Liscum Drive to James H. McGee Boulevard in the city of Dayton, and agreeing to cooperate in matters incidental thereto, including the execution of an agreement necessary to implement this ordinance. Mayor Mims.
Aye.
Commissioner Joseph.
Aye.
Shaw.
Aye.
Fairchild.
Aye.
Turner-Sloss.
Aye.
Second reading resolution number 6849-25, supporting the Ohio Commission for the United States Semi-Quincentennial America 250-Ohio. Mayor Mims.
Aye.
Commissioner Joseph.
Aye.
Shaw.
Aye.
Fairchild.
Aye.
Turner-Sloss.
Aye.
That is all, Your Honor.
Okay, so I have a board appointment. Commissioner Fairchild.
I move to appoint Andrea Hurdle to the Environmental Advisory Board for an unexpired term ending November 27th, 2025.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been probably moved and seconded to have Andrea Hurdle appointed to the Environmental Advisory Board for a term, unexpired term, ending November 27th, 2025. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay. So, Ms. Blackshear, any citizens registered to speak?
Mayor, we have one citizen who has
Okay.
registered to speak. I would like to state that there is a 3-minute time limit. As you address the commission, we ask that you state your name and address for the record. At that time, I will turn on the green light. When the green light comes on, you will have 3 minutes to speak. After you have spoken 2.5 minutes, a yellow light will come on. You will have 30 seconds remaining to speak. When the red light comes on, you'll be asked to cease your comments and to take your seat. To the audience in attendance, please be mindful this is a business meeting, and we kindly request that during this portion of the meeting, you refrain from any hand clapping, finger snapping, and conversations that will prevent the City Commission from hearing the speaker's comments. I call to the podium Kimaru Watenza.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My name is Kimaru Watenza. I live at 1200 West Grand Avenue in Dayton, 45402. Recently, our president has invited white South Africans to migrate to the United States. I want to remind us that it wasn't too long ago that South Africa was an apartheid state with rights for people in South Africa being reserved for those who were white, while the majority of the population was black and really had no real rights. The negotiations to end apartheid in South Africa was expedited by the Battle of Cuito Cuanavale. And that battle was actually fought in Angola. It wasn't even fought in South Africa. But it was fought by South African troops, and they lost. So they came to the negotiation table to negotiate the end of apartheid. The primary supporters of foreign governments for apartheid then was our government, the United States and Israel. Those are the facts. So at this point, Israel is an apartheid state where Israelis or Jews have rights, and those Palestinians who live in that area have virtually none. We are supporting them as a government. And as a government, I am asking again, how do we justify that? Even the language is different. There are thousands, not hundreds, thousands of prisoners that were taken by the Israeli government, thousands of Palestinian prisoners. But we refer to these people as prisoners, but those people taken by the Palestinians are called hostages. Now, what is the difference? Those people they have been charged, the Palestinians have been charged with no crime. And there has been no trial date, and yet we are calling them prisoners. Why are they not hostages, just like the others? What I'm asking is that this commission divest in anything related to the government of Israel so that the genocide that is currently going on can stop.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you, Mr.
Appreciate it.
Latenza.
That is all, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Ms. Dixon, any closing comments?
I do have a closing comment this morning, Your Honor, but before I make them, I would like to call forward Fred Stovall,
Okay.
Director of Public Works. So, Mayor, Commissioners, after more than 2 decades of dedicated service, we celebrate the outstanding career of our retiring Director of Public Works, Fred Stovall. Since 2002, he has been a driving force behind the City of Dayton's infrastructure and public services, overseeing budgets from $26 million to $52 million and leading a workforce of up to 485 employees. His leadership has improved the quality of life for residents through enhanced trash and recycling programs, roadway maintenance, fleet services, and more. His commitment to innovation led to the creation of a public works call center and the improved use of GIS technology for service delivery. Key accomplishments that Fred has made and that will have a lasting impact on our community. He has built strong community relationships. He established a positive reputation with residents and neighborhood groups by being responsive to their concerns and improving the quality of life services across Dayton. He has implemented Dayton Delivers technology, spearheaded the launch of Dayton Delivers, a user-friendly technology platform that enabled residents to engage with the city more effectively and receive timely updates on service requests. He fostered a collaborative team culture. He maintained an open-door policy, ensuring that employees felt heard and valued. He committed to staff engagement and fostered a team-oriented workplace, encouraging collaboration and growth. He enhanced the capital project bidding process, championed a strategic shift in how the city advertised engineering estimates, resulting in more competitive bids and improved cost efficiency for capital projects. He optimized our street repaving strategies, introduced a data-driven approach to street maintenance, implementing a 3-year cycle for documenting street conditions. This initiative strengthened the Public Works Department ability to prioritize repaving projects and support commitments under Issue 9 and Issue 6. Fred's legacy is defined by his commitment to excellence, innovation, and community engagement, leaving behind a public works department that is more efficient, responsive, and dedicated to serving the residents of Dayton. I am so proud of the work that Fred has accomplished, and thank you, Fred, for your stellar public service. Our organization and community are far better because of it, and I wish you a long, healthy, and joyous retirement.
Thank you.
Comments, of course. I know you're not short on words.
I know. So I'll try to get through this. Again, good morning, Commissioners, Mayor, City Manager, Fred Stovall, Director of Public Works, for the last time. Until Friday at 5 o'clock. But I do want to say it's been a great opportunity for the last 24 years I have with the city, but the last 22 of those have been as Director of Public Works. I appreciate all the support of all the mayors and commission over the years. I think it's been 4 mayors, and whatever seats have changed up there with the commissioners.
Nobody's left from then.
City manager, I think Ms. Dickstein is number 5 for me, I believe, my tenure here at the city. So again, I appreciate over the years all that support. Coming from the private sector, it's always been a challenge for me, adapting from private to public, even to this last day. Still say that. And the reason I say that is, coming from the private sector, it's about making the money, about being profit-driven. And being in that culture for 24 years, it was all about customer service and taking care of the customers. And Commissioner Shaw, you probably understand this. We were always driven to say it's easier and cheaper to maintain existing customers than to go out and recruit new ones, right? So to me, that's the same philosophy I tried to uphold here in the city of Dayton. It's easy for us to keep people here.
Yes, sir.
And encourage people to come. But if we're doing the right thing and we're providing good quality service, people get the opportunity, maybe want to come in. But at least we can maintain that base and know what we have to work with. So that's kind of been my philosophy I've been using here as the organization. But again, I appreciate this, providing the equity opportunity for all the neighborhoods. Has really been a good collaboration between Public Works, Water, Police, Fire, Mr. Steve Gondel's group, P&D, and I think working with the neighborhoods has really been great. That collaboration with the neighborhoods is really key. My thing with the neighborhoods, hey, we can work together, but the city can't do it all, I can give you the stage, I can set it up, but then I need you to carry it and hold it down and not expect the city to be repetitive and come back and doing the same thing over and over. So again, I appreciate it, the opportunity working here, and all my people in the neighborhood, they get asked me now, Fred, who do we call? So I will be referring other people, y'all's numbers and contact information as people I'm pretty sure still going to call me for a little bit to figure out who they need to follow up with or contact. So again, thank you. Thank you, the city of Dayton, and all the people in the neighborhoods. That's all I got. Thanks.
Okay.
All right.
Of course, I know the commissioners have some words they'd like to share as well. So we'll start over at my left, Commissioner Turner-Sloss.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Stovall, it has been a pleasure and honor to have worked with you on both sides as a member of the organization, as a former member of the organization, and now as an elected member. And so I just wish you nothing but happiness, good health, and restful retirement. Please give our best to the family and our appreciation to them as well for lending you to us. I think, again, Ms. Dickstein, she summed it up well. Stellar performance, stellar leadership, and I will echo and just uplift and foot stomp to the point of strong community relationships that you have been able to build and being able to foster over the last 24 years, and that is absolutely commendable. So thank you for your selflessness. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for taking those calls from all of the various members and leaders in the community, and just being professional through it all and being humble and kind. Yeah. So thank you. God bless.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay. Commissioner Fairchild.
Yeah. Echo those comments and thank you for all your service. It's been a pleasure working with you. There's 2 things that stand out that I think give us a glimpse into who you are and your commitment to the city and the pride you take in your work. One is when we do the neighborhood, when we porch tours or the neighborhood gatherings, and people will invariably tell you about how the trash trucks will leave a little bit of trash, and you are very gracious and taking that, hearing that, and sometimes it's the residents' fault because they overstuff their trash cans. Sometimes it's a training issue, but in all those cases, your attention to that detail and understanding the importance to the cleanliness of that resident's neighborhood is one piece, one glimpse. The other is, we had a real deferred maintenance issue with our residential streets. Right. And because of issue 6, 9, and 6, we got funding to address that, but it sounds like taking that data-driven approach was part of your initiative. And as you leave here, we are on a path to having the residential streets across the city up to
a 70 PCI. That's good condition.
And where was it in 2016 before issue?
I think we were in the 40s. Is that right, Escobar?
Yep.
Yeah, we were in the 40s, so we've come a long way.
Every resident in this city says thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you for your hard work and your dedication.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, Commissioner Shaw.
Yeah, once again, thank you for your great leadership of this organization. I don't think that there's a director in this organization more impactful than you have been. I just appreciate your leadership and your creativity and your innovation. And that starts at the top. I remember you had folks that kind of manipulated some different equipment to make it work better and more efficient, and just really appreciate that, giving them the grace to be creative and to do that kind of work. But also, I've over the years really appreciated that you would come out to neighborhood association meetings and just be very personable and address the community and be very respectful of them. And they have appreciated that also, as you've kind of heard. So, once again, thank you for your great leadership and wish you much success in your retirement.
Okay, Mr. Joseph.
Thank you, Mayor. I was making a couple notes here, and the things I wanted to say, and a couple turned into like 8. So forgive me, but there are a couple things I want to mention. First, I think the thing that defines, for me, the things that defines you is that every time I would refer someone to you, some resident that had a complaint, or somebody was really angry, or somebody didn't understand something, I would hear back from them, oh, Mr. Stovall, he was very nice, and he took care of the problem. And that is, that's wonderful, not only from a customer service standpoint and from a city standpoint, it's also wonderful for us because we know we can count on you to take care of tough situations, and you did every time. Thank you very much. In fact, and don't take this in a negative way, I think you'd be a good commissioner, you'd be a good politician because you have the right attitude. You know to listen first and then look for solutions, and that's how we operate. So so don't take that the wrong way. It really is a compliment. You'd be a good politician. I want to mention, Commissioner Shaw mentioned giving your folks creativity with the leaf collection pickup equipment and being able to invent their own. That's awesome and really great. You were open to putting passive RFID tags into pavement cuts so we know who was responsible for them. That was awesome and won an award, a national award for RFID use. You continued excellent trash pickup through very difficult times. Not just one crisis, but 2 or 3 different crises where we had to cut and make cuts we didn't want to make, and you still managed to do a very good job. And I think our service now is as good as it ever was.
I agree.
And you included recycling, again, through tough times. You found a way to do it, working with various city managers and with us and our predecessors to do that. We're a better city for that. And all right, I'm looking through everything. I'm going to make sure I mentioned. Commissioner mentioned the roads, and I want to say that too. The roads are much better, and it's a sign to me. We still get complaints, but they're different now. In the case, I think we've raised expectations. Our citizens expect better roads now here over a decade in, and that's a credit to you also. So even when we get complaints now, they're not complaints about a road being just basically gravel. They're complaints about a pothole or some inconsistency. So that's a credit to you too. You've done great work.
Thank you.
I don't know if I'm allowed to, but I'd like to say, do you have any advice for us? You've been around a long time, Mr. Stovall.
I'll let the mayor speak, and then I'll chime in at the end. But while you asking me, only thing, my team, there's a great public works team that's in place right now. I've set the bar for them pretty high. I drive pretty hard, I'll admit that. So I'm just asking my team to continue that drive, to continue that creativity, and just be accountable for what we do. Deliver a good quality service will go a long way for you guys. It'll go a long way for the city manager, and it definitely will a long way for our residents. So again, I'm just asking my managers are here, I think. Let's do what we do, people, and keep it going. So that's what I'm asking them to do. In the past, it was always, let's get her done. That was kind of a theme we drove on for a while. So I'm still asking them to drive to that and just be committed to the work. That's the key to be a public servant. And again, I appreciate the opportunity to be to have been a public servant for the last 24 years with the city, but it's just being committed to this work and being committed to the community, and the work will get done, and it will happen, and people will appreciate your commitment. But it's all about commitment in the public sector. That's what I believe. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, good. So, I go back to it's 2014 when I first was elected to the commission, and seeing the work that you were doing. Also understand the good work with the city manager and staff as we began to work on this whole customer service program. And the whole essence behind that was trying to find better ways that we can make sure that our employees knew that they were valued. And you did a great job in modeling that behavior. And so much good came out of that whole process. And when I think about sometimes when we go out to the communities and different groups are making presentations, I am reminded of this commercial where this guy who's a drummer is always identified as the rock star. Okay, no matter what's going on, people have ideas, they have thoughts, but the rock star, who was the drummer, of course, was always twirling the sticks, making a couple of little notes, always was the one that sometimes seemed to be exempt from additional work tasks, if you will. But you were always hanging in there, always participatory, always trying to find ways of making the city better. I bring back the thoughts also in terms of when we began talking about issue 9 and the plan and the work that you and your department put together to find ways of categorizing lane miles, how you are going to take care of fixing those, different processes in terms of how you fix the potholes, the Dayton deliveries, all those kinds of things that made it really, really good for us. So I really, really appreciate that. Now, I also want to just add, in terms of closing, that I understand that you are taking golf lessons, and I understand that you are taking golf lessons from, one of my instructors. So I've instructed him not to help you too much, okay, if we see you out there. But keep on doing what you're doing. Yeah. I'll see you out there, okay?
Yeah.
And,
the first video was a little ugly, I'll have to admit, but it did improve after that first section.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, keep it going. We really, really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Okay, Ms. Blackshear, you want to follow that?
I have nothing to follow. Leave it there.
Okay, Commissioners, closing comments. Commissioner Turner-Sloss.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Very briefly, thank you, Ms. Reading, for providing a couple of highlights for this upcoming weekend as well as for tomorrow. So the next stop for the tenant rights and responsibility on the road is Thursday, February the 27th. From 6 p.m. to 7:30 at the Dayton Metro Library, the Trotwood branch, and the community room. Dayton Metro Library is hosting the Dayton Tenants Union and legal aid to provide renters with vital information on their rights and responsibilities. The other thing that I wanted to add too, and again, thank you, Ms. Reading, the Victoria Theater is launching a Women's History Month on Power and Presence on March 1st at 7:30 in the second at 4 p.m. with the Contemporary Dance Company. And I would also like to thank Mr. Gondel and his staff. Thank you to the entire organization, or to the Housing Inspection and your team that came out this morning. And thank you for the presentation and the great work that you are doing. Look forward to those numbers increasing for the next demolition update. So thank you again. Mr. Minor, thank you, sir, for being here. And Mr. Watinza, thank you for your advocacy and for your comments. And again, I just would like to congratulate Mr. Fred Stovall for all of his great work and his leadership. And again, all the best in your retirement, sir. That's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Fairchild.
I'm good this morning.
Good. Commissioner Shaw.
Just a couple things. First of all, swim lessons are back. So we're excited about that. The City of Dayton Rec Department is offering swim lessons for only $25 per session. Whether you're a beginner or looking to improve, our instructors are here to help you, so we're very excited about that. And also, lifeguard training is available, and we know how important it is to kind of fill those positions so that we can keep our swimming pools open over the summer. Also, the Metro Parks ice rink, the last skate of the season, will be this week. It's open all week, with Friday being the last day. Enjoy open skate during the day and soul night in the evenings to wrap up the season. So I'm very excited about that. Also excited about next week's Boys and Girls Club annual Youth of the Year event. That'll be on Thursday, where I will be helping to judge the competition. So I'm excited about that, and I'll report out the winner next week.
Okay. They do good work over there. Yep. Very good work. Okay, Commissioner Joseph.
Thank you, Mayor. I have two things today. First, coming up from March 2nd to the 6th is Read Across America Week. Read Across America Day is the 2nd. That's Dr. Seuss's birthday. It is a great opportunity to support literacy wherever you are, schools, home, wherever you happen to be. I'll be participating by reading at Kaiser and Bellhaven. I know most, if not all, my colleagues are also going to be reading to kids. It is a lot of fun. I would think it might even be my favorite thing to do as a commissioner is to go read to these kids. It's amazing to see, and it's a lot of fun. We all need all the literacy we can get. Please go out and support it where you can, especially during Literacy Week. Second, join Dayton Fire. Fire department is hiring lateral firefighters and paramedics right now. If you're already in, you want to come over to the city of Dayton, a great place to work, the most challenging place to work in the region, the most fun, I dare say. Applications are open until March 16th. You can go online to joindaytonfire.com. We'd love to have you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I got my head start on reading to the young people last week at Fairview. So I got about another 5-10 more, but we're working on it. It's always fun.
Yeah.
I want to say two things. One thing, actually, before I leave, I want to make sure I mention happy birthday to my wife, which is tomorrow.
Oh.
Those are always safe things to make sure I get into the house, okay? And she's happy. I will not tell her age. I definitely wouldn't get in. But very beautiful person. Of course, she is definitely my better 3/4. I'm not even going to say better half, my better 3/4, okay? And actually, that's it for that. So love and peace for all and hatred for none. With no further business to come before this commission, this meeting is adjourned.
Great.